Good evening, good night, good day, good morning, good day, man. Whoever you are, all over the world, bonjour, Avida saying, that's Vidania, I guess, in Russian. I don't know. Aloha, if you're in Hawaii. I'm sure we have a fan in Hawaii.
Of course we do.
And we have fans in Asia. I don't know how to say anything in any Asiatic language, but
Ni hao.
all I'm trying to say
There
is
you
hello,
go.
everyone. From the foreign territory, Janina. And
Yes.
welcome to our, I guess, our wrap-up show about the Australian 2000 Open 2016. It might be gracious, joyous for some folks. It might be what the fuck for some people. They might still be moaning. But I know for sure in Germany, it is all. Does somebody probably have to go give Angie some kind of shot for going in that disgusting river? But that's another story. But before we go any further, before I go any further, let me introduce the hostesses with the mostesses, the two lovely ladies. We have Andrine from Solely Tennis Travel. I got it right today.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
And our foreign correspondent from Ohio, Janina.
Ni hao.
Oh, okay. She's all. Is it Japanese? Is it Chinese?
I
It
think
might
it's
be Chinese.
Japanese.
You know,
No, it's Japanese. I watched Ni Hao Kailan for many years with my child.
Well,
Ni
I
hao.
don't know. I don't know because I think that's what we saw. That's what they said when I was in China. So
Oh shit.
okay, you're right. I know, right?
Oh
Somebody
damn
tell me
it.
it's Chinese and not Japanese. But you know what? Let's stop. We're not a
Melbourne.
Let's
racist
roll.
podcast. We are not a racist podcast. We are a haterific podcast, but we're not a racist podcast. So, ladies, we're wrapping up. We're done. Australian Open 2016 is over. That
Mhm.
2 weeks
Over.
seemed epic in many ways,
Did it go
and then
really
it
fast
seemed
for you
like
guys?
um,
I felt like
I guess
yeah, kind of.
I felt like it was the quickest Grand Slam ever.
It really
I
did.
really did. I don't know why. I was just like, holy shit, it's over.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess after the first week, is as soon as the first week is over for me with so many matches and so many hours, I guess you could kind of get better sleep. You know what I mean? You could plan your life around
Yeah.
the second week. But to me, it was kind of I don't know. It was kind of mundane for me. I'm sorry. It really was.
Well,
It really was. I mean, like
I
I
mean,
was all
come
hopeful
on.
that things would be exciting and dramatic,
We had
and
some
then
excitement.
in many ways, it kind of came out to be like, I don't know. There was much to talk about on the ladies' side for me. For me,
Yes.
the WTA really put it down. I mean, like next year, all men's matches are gonna be in Hisense Arena, and the women are taking over Rod Laver and Peggy Carr Arena. That's the way it is. Hisense you get for free. If you wanna see a match in there, you go in. But next year, WTA, I'm telling you right now, you demand Rod Laver and Peggy Court Arena, and you say all our matches going there. Even Roberta Vinci versus Peng Shui, that's featured in Rod Laver Arena. And I bet you too many money. Tickets, people buy that ticket, that people paying for that ticket. I'm telling you. No more fucking around with Code 18 for WTA. All matches in there. In fact, I think the doubles and mixed doubles event was a highly featured, was much more entertaining and exciting for me. A little secret. So I was scoreboarding the wheelchair doubles, and that was more exciting to me in many
Then
ways than
what?
some of the men matches. And
Well,
then let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's not just get ahead of ourselves just yet. But you know what?
okay.
But but let's talk about the ladies first. Because I mean, that
Okay.
first final. I mean, I genuinely enjoyed the women's event this year. The women's event this year, I thought was really exciting. There were a lot of good stories coming out on this side. I mean, and mainly I'm first and I mean, on top of it all, Queen Vulture. I mean, like before Angie, before I give you a round of applause, I gotta give us a round of applause because we pick Angie as a Queen Vulture, and we say if people don't step up to the plate, Angie is there to grabble anything that left there, and including the trophy. And look what you
We
know,
called it a
Angie
year ago.
exactly. Andre grabbed the biggest crown of all, the Australian Open, the biggest women's trophy there is, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
it's huge.
And she got it. She has that Daphne something trophy in her own, beating the queen of them all, Serena Williams, in 3 sets. And that was a really, really good finals. It was a
That's
good final, I think,
rarefied.
for
Rarefied company by her though. What is that? They're only Serena's really what lost only 5 finals.
I don't know.
I believe I
mm,
saw two to Venus,
yes, yeah, yes,
one to
to the Venus,
One to Sam Soser, and one to
one to Maria, yeah, yes,
Sharapova.
sure, yes,
So
exactly. And I
not
think
only she did it did not only did she get a slam, but she got it the hard way. The hard
But
exactly.
here's the thing. Did y'all watch Vika and Kerber? Did you
Mhm.
see that match?
Yes.
It was
Yes, I
amazing,
did.
Hmm.
right? You totally thought in the second set when she was down, was she down one or two breaks? Two
Two
breaks?
breaks.
She was
Two
down two
breaks.
Two
breaks,
breaks,
and you
shut down
thought,
5.
here comes Kerber. This is what she does. She doesn't step up to the plate when she's playing the big players, the top players. You know, she can vulture these tours when no one's there, but this is what she does. She mentally goes away. She blows leads all the time. It's what she does, and you totally expected that.
Hold
And you
on.
saw like what?
Before you even get to Vika, Angie Kerber faced match point against Masoda Doi in the first round and the
Right?
second day. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm pronouncing her first name incorrectly. But Doi had Angie on the ropes, okay? She was a play away from
I
going
was
home.
so there for Doi too though, and I mean because
Me
Doi was
too.
moving her around that court. She hit some backhands and forehand. I was like, oh dear lord, this match was so exciting. So I was a pissed off Doi fan for the moment.
Just
But
for a little bit. Just for a little
just for a
bit.
little bit, I was like, oh no. But you know what? It's so funny. It's weirdly enough because the year that Sam Stosur won against Serena at the U.S. Open, strangely enough, I ended up seeing all of Sam Soser's matches live as well. And it was just the same kind of situation where the person actively overcame the way they typically navigate matches.
Right.
Sam
Hmm.
Stosur did that at the U.S. Open that year because I think she played Nadia. Remember Nadia?
Petrova?
Not
Yeah.
Petrova?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
My
remember
friend,
she always had a problem with Petrova and she got through that match like nobody's business, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly. And it was
my
the same
friend,
thing with Kerber.
a very good friend of mine, his mother's a huge tennis fan, and they're Australian, and the mother was just like, Sam, don't you ever do that to me again. She is up in the morning watching this tennis match, and I think it was either with Kerber. I think our semifinal match was like epic. They kept breaking and holding serve. It was just a mess. Nobody could hold serve for a while, and there was Angie getting her life together. I mean,
Yeah.
that match against Vika was really. I mean, I don't know what to say about Vika, girl, but
You know, she just, I mean, but that was all about Kerber. It really was. She decided,
no,
you could see
Wait,
a
wait,
switch
wait.
go off. You could see her, like, make a decision, like, I'm not doing this again. I'm not. And she just decided she was going to play better, and she was the better player. And Vika wasn't, she's probably never seen that from her. I don't know. I mean, I expected it
yeah,
to be a good match, but I expected Vika to come out on top, for sure.
I've expected 3 sets. I
I
expected
did.
three
I
sets.
did. I did. I didn't. You know what? Because from somebody who had a winning head to head against Kerber, I
I'm being a
didn't.
couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm beating her pretty comfortably 2 weeks. Yeah, weeks earlier. I would have thought that Vika would have comfortably served out at 5-2. So I was really
But Kerber
Or
was
at
hitting
least,
those amazing
actually,
shots.
I thought Vika would have had a better start than being down full love full. She
no.
was
You know
blown
what
out
though?
from the very beginning.
But if you think about Kerber's pattern, she started well at all of her matches because
Right.
she was up. I think she was up 5-love against Doi, and Doi brought it back to 5-all. So her pattern for Kerber's pattern was to start really well, get reeled in a little bit, and then get dragged into maybe a tussle even for the first set. She ekes it out, and then she I think Doi though was her only 3-set match if I'm not mistaken, but she started
Serena match.
other than the Serena match, I think. So she has started really well. So I knew in some ways that she was going to have a fast start, but then I thought that Vika's head to head and the way that Vika seemed to have had emerging confidence,
Right.
that would have spelled trouble. So when you remember, I think we were watching the match together, and I was like, uh-oh, here comes Kerber, and she eked out the first set, and I was like, whew. And then, and then when Vika got the 2 breaks in the second, I was like, okay, here we are. We're going to have a tussle for the third. And maybe on some level, Vika expected that too. So when she went up to serve for it in the second set, maybe she was surprised that Angie decided to take those returns early.
Right.
She took them. Oh, did she take them?
When Angie broke when she was down and Vika was subbing for the set for the first time, and she got broken. To me, Vika was just like, why won't this bitch die? Why won't she just die? She seemed more upset with the fact that Angie, you're not sticking to the script.
Yeah,
I'm supposed to be exactly. She seemed frustrated that things were not going her way. She couldn't think herself out of the box. Like she was in a jam and somehow she was just like, like, I'm panicking. This is supposed to go back to normal in a second. This is all a dream.
Does that explain those wild forehand errors though? What happened there?
Well, maybe because seriously, nobody does this to Vika unless it's Serena. Only Serena treats Vika in this manner. And this was a healthy Vika. This was a positive Vika. This was a dabbing Vika. This was a Vika similar to 2012 Vika, right? In some ways.
But
and she always found a way.
But she was exposed. She was exposed in this match in a weird way. Like I was like, I hadn't really thought about how. I always knew Vika's second serve was attackable, but it seemed to me that her movement allowed her to, even if the player got on her second serve, that once you got Vika in the point in the rally, she'd be okay. But she was not.
She's clear thinking, right?
She was not okay in this match.
Okay, but what did I tell you guys last week? What did I say?
You did.
I said I'm not getting on the Vika train because she hasn't played anybody yet. We don't know how she's doing.
It's true. It's like Kim Clijsters, right? Old Kim Clijsters people. Old Kim Clijsters would finish matches in half an hour. Boom. Then she gets to the quarterfinals, then Kim Clijsters in trouble. You know what I mean? Kim Clijsters was love and bagling bitches, bagling and breadstick bitches, all the way up to the quarterfinals, and then meet Justine, and then she's choking. Then she's in a mess. But,
you can't. Somebody that's been away with injuries and. We know she's had fitness issues and stuff. I don't know, when you don't play anybody, you look good. I don't want to, just the caliber of her opponents up until now have not been very high. So we needed to see.
Yeah, that's fair.
We needed to see what, who she was playing, how she was going to handle a higher ranked player who we know could beat her. That's always the truth.
And in a weird way, having Angie sort of came through the first week tested. Do you know what I mean? Right. She was comfortable fighting through matches. And so in a weird, strangely enough, it seemed like Vika was unprepared to fight through this match.
Because she never had to play.
She was frustrated.
The other thing... Go ahead.
No, I just said she was frustrated.
Oh, okay.
Needlessly
to me,
so,
it's
because Kerber had been winning. She'd been winning other tournaments, that maybe not a slam, and yes, your head-to-head with her was comfortable, but you could have noticed all along that, Kerber is fitter now suddenly.
Right. I
she looks great.
And Kerber was staying involved in points that typically she was never really involved. She would already have given up. She would already have made an error. I would have just let it go. She was continuing to stay in the rally, but something about Vika that became very apparent that you mentioned ages ago to me, Andreen, is that a lot of people confuse Vika with ability to redirect the ball with having put in pace on the shot. and she doesn't hit a very hard or big ball. And I think that was why Angie was able to, stand at the
Tee off
baseline
on.
and get involved and go back and forth and tee
Mhm.
off in a lot of those shots because
Man, she
especially
was
off of
teeing
that serve,
off.
she didn't win anything. She was just like winner and Vika was like, who the fuck is this bitch? This is how it's
Yeah.
supposed to go.
Ball went
This
by
is-
her. Because Angie, at some point in
Exactly.
time, Angie would hit a ball and she's like, oh! And it would go flying
Exactly.
by her.
Angie
I
was
was
just
like,
like
all
time
right.
ended. And as Angie became more involved in the points,
Yeah.
as she was able to realize that she was the one who was in fact dictating play and not being dictated to.
Yeah.
You could see her confidence literally growing inch by inch by inch, and it became large. And she was just like, you know what? By the time she got to 5 hours, she was just like, you know what? Fuck a tiebreaker. I'm gonna take 7 games in 5 games in a row. I mean, in my mind, literally, that's what I was just like, fuck tiebreak, fuck this shit. I'm gonna break her again. Fuck this shit.
That
And I
was a
think that
really good match.
that was
That was really enjoyable. I mean, I'll
Yeah.
I'll admit an open secret. I actually turned on that match and watched the entire match from work.
Well done.
good for you.
Sorry.
Real tennis fans. I do that all the time. I can't even tell you how I watch the Olympics.
But that was
desk.
a real confession. But you know what? And then for her to face Serena in the final, and I actually thought that I didn't know if I thought she had a shot at winning, but I thought she had a shot at taking it to 3 sets. I did.
Right.
That was what I believed. Because, the reality is that Serena, similar to Vika, had been dusting her opponents.
Mhm.
So, I was led to believe, as history says, that when Serena gets into a final, it's all but done.
Right.
Well, at the Australian Open, she has been 6-0,
Yeah.
semifinals 6-0, and she has faced some mighty tough battles in the semifinals at the Australian Open, except this time around when Aga Radwanska decided that she's gonna put her bid in and go,
What was
girl,
that
girl,
shit? Man, did you see?
Hmm.
I mean, I expected Radwanska to just go sit down and cry in a corner.
You know what?
But you know what?
I did
In
not
that
catch
first
that
set,
match.
I
What
watched
happened
it.
in that first set?
It was stupid. I don't know. It was so dumb. It was like she'd never played tennis before. I mean, obviously we
I think she was
expect
being
Serena. We expect Serena to overpower her, right? But Aga's the ninja. She's the smart tennis
I think-
player.
Right. I think that was the game
Nothing
plan.
worked
The
for
game
her.
plan was that.
Nothing.
The game plan was that Serena will make errors. Just wait your turn. And the game plan for Serena was that I had Marion Bartoli as my commentator, and she was just like, so I met Patrick Murray talking to you. We've been friends forever. And, he was making notes, and I read his note, but I won't share his secret notes with you. They're very private and secret. However, she says, Patrick had Aga's game plan down to a T, and he knew everything. And she was just like, and Serena is doing exactly what Patrick told her to do.
Well,
Easy
that
power.
shit
Serena
worked.
was stepping in. I'm telling you, Aga is a total veteran. I mean, and maybe that's why she didn't cry. But if there was some new girl on the block, like Kanta, she'd have been in tears.
I think she was close to
it would've
tears. She was looking like, what the fuck am I supposed to
I
do?
mean, like that.
She was lost. In that first set, that woman was lost. It was pathetic. It was
she only
fucking
won
pathetic.
points. She won points on Serena's errors, like literally unforced errors, not forced errors, unforced errors. These are errors that Serena had the shot and just somehow just sprayed it wide into the net. I think Aga ended up with what, 3 points or 3 winners in the first set, and in the second set, Serena was just like, maybe what, girl, let's just relax a little bit. And then, when she needed to in the last, she was up 2-1, I think it was, serving for 3-1. I think they got back even, I think, at 3 games all. And then Serena kind of for a little bit, make it look interesting. And then 4 games off, someone was like, okay, girl, I'm done with this shit. Aga was up 40-15, I think it was, just like, you know what, I don't want to play 12 games in this. Let's make it a good 10. Fuck it. I got your game broken now, and and it's. I mean, like, let's be real here. Serena, there is no deficiency in her game. The only enemy Serena faces is Serena, because I mean,
Yeah,
like, especially
especially
against
that
someone.
day. Hot damn.
And there's two things probably if we love the revenge narrative. Hotman Cup, bitch. That was for Hotman Cup. Make you look silly. And who is the real WTA and championship champion? It's
Oh my
me,
god.
not you. So, for those who love the revenge narrative,
Yeah,
there it
that
goes.
that was just pathetic. I mean, Radwanska, go back to the drawing board, girl, because I don't know. I don't know.
And
I
everyone
don't
who
know.
talked about what was funny that I didn't hear a single peep about anyone saying, "Oh, Aga had a chance." Because everyone was talking
Well,
about,
we know
"Oh,
better.
Aga
That's
finally win
why.
a major this time around." For a little bit, I mean, people were talking about like, Aga should take comfort after the first set, right? When it was just breadstick. Was it breadstick or bagel?
It was
Was it
Well, I
bagel.
bagel?
mean, it was, but
A bagel, bagel.
but the reality though, remember, Aga was the informed player,
Yeah,
Right.
right? I
okay.
mean, she had been the one to come in of the top
Undefeated.
players. Yeah, she was the undefeated person ever since Singapore. So I think people, but you know what? The reality was, let's be honest, Aga didn't belong there.
No.
Freed Sam belonged there.
Yeah.
She had a lucky escape from the Freed Sam match, and she got, as you like to say, Reels, next round money. But she got next round money, but she hadn't brought next round game.
Well,
Freed
she did.
Sam, Freed Sam, unfortunately for her, and I actually think Freed Sam would have been an even sterner test for Serena, and
It would have
possibly,
been.
and if she, no, and if she had actually gotten through, might have actually helped prepared Serena for the final.
Yeah.
With with
Because
somebody who was serving better and moving well and had some power
Because
behind
I
her
mean the
shot.
last,
But
because look
yeah,
at this. Because the last who Serena faced in the round of 16 was no the third round. Who did she face in third round? Punta Saver. Was
Cost
it Punta Saver? No, 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 no.
no
no, she didn't say.
Costakina.
Yeah,
Castakina, who beat Venus.
Katakina. Yeah,
Breadstick.
yeah, she had
I
no
think she
challenge.
breadstick that double breadstick that
She
girl.
had a semi-competitive match in the first round, and then she didn't have
And
another
that
one
was it.
until the final.
Mhm.
That was half the
And
problem.
if anyone opened their mouth and said that Maria match was competitive, I will
Oh
punch you in the
Jesus,
throat.
we're not
Don't
even
even
going to
try.
Well, I
discuss
mean,
that.
Don't even try.
it was competitive for different reasons, not for the actual tennis.
Mm.
Competitive for her own tension and her desire to get through that match
Look,
as quickly as possible.
Maria, you do a Justine next time this matchup is scheduled. You got
Uh oh.
diarrhea. You
Uh
got diarrhea. Stay home. Stay home.
Okay, so let's
Pull
talk about
out.
the final. Let's talk because I only saw the last set. I didn't see the first two sets because my body was like, you know
Oh.
what, I can't wake up. But I woke
um,
up and I saw that Angie had won the first set, and I was like, I better wake up for the rest of the
oh.
sucker.
Right.
So,
I didn't see the whole thing either. I saw. Um, I think I only saw the third set, to be honest.
I saw most of the match then.
so then,
I think
tell
that
us,
Serena
what
was.
was working and what wasn't
I
working
mean,
for you.
I saw one commentator, someone on Twitter, right? Serena was horrible at the net. When I say horrible, I think Andy Roddick could have done a better job up there.
Uh
I mean, it
oh.
was just horrendous. It was like Venus kamikaze style in many ways. Venus is right. Venus, why are we missing this shot? Like, but this time it was just like, it was crazy. Angie came out, like, I was happy that she didn't come out nervous like a debutante, right? Like, shell shock or anything like that. She came out like, and I think this is one of those things where you get fitter, you get your place, you should feel like, like, I have been playing well, I have played well, I deserve to be here. There was no sense of, like, oh, I'm shocked to be here. I think she was shocked to be here when the match was over. Like, why am I here? How did I get here? But she was definitely playing up to, she was definitely ready to give Serena a fight. Serena was not serving well, making ridiculous. I think Angie had 13 for the match. Serena had 46, and ordinarily that wouldn't have been, that's a Serena. But when Serena is sloppy and someone is playing clean and they're still involved in the point, that spells troubles for Serena. And
Yeah.
the serve wasn't on. I mean, like, she couldn't call upon aces as she ordinarily would. She couldn't serve her well to trouble often. And as a player but she played well in the second set. And but the customary thing of when she's in this situation at the beginning of the third set, she breaks the player. That wasn't happening. And
Yeah.
Angie was serving that ridiculous serve of Angie. As it, let's put it this way, Angie was playing Serena like how Rafa plays Roger.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you play ugly tennis. I'm gonna put you in awkward position, make you constantly have to go for too much, make every point seem bigger than it really is, and you're gonna either hit too hard, pull it too wide. So that was kind of like what was happening here. Serena was just going for too much, and her fans, the Serena stands, were losing their motherfucking mind on Twitter. They were not having it. They
Well,
were not having it at all.
I mean, I watched the third set, and I was, obviously when Angie served for it, and then she got broken, you thought WTA is going to go with its script. But as we've discovered this year, the WTA has tossed out all of its scripts and has got new script writers, and they're just doing new storylines.
Right,
It's
exactly.
it's like a soap opera that brought in new writers. And so I was like, is she actually going to break Serena for the championship?
Right.
And she did. I mean, and I did notice that. I mean, the thing that always happens sometimes with Serena is sometimes in certain situations she doesn't move well. Like that sometimes happened with her. She doesn't move her feet. That was definitely happening. And it also seemed like she was getting jammed up. She was getting jammed up with her shot.
Angie was serving to the body a lot, and she wasn't moving out of the way. It seemed like if nothing was registering in Serena's head to change anything. Like she
Sometimes
wasn't
that
making the
happens.
small adjustment.
Well,
You
and
know what I
she
mean?
doesn't typically need to against Kerber.
Right, exactly. And that was the other thing too.
Everybody
Kerber.
saw like Kerber 2.0 and got a little surprise.
This was Slim Kerber, and as someone pointed out to Twitter, she's the only one who looked good in the Adidas kit. I think it's because she's the only one of Adidas who actually stuck around to be wearing the kit for long enough for us to make some kind of impression. But that's just me.
Anna got best dressed, so that's all we need to know about that kit. So no, I mean, you know what? I have to say, obviously, I'm fine. Everyone knows I appreciate Serena, and I think that it's great that she set herself in a position to break Steffi Graf's record this year, and I believe 100% that it's going to happen at some point.
Oh, no doubt.
But no doubt. But I think what was really, really, I mean, and of course, if this had been Venus, I would not be so generous. But I mean, let's be honest. I mean, because listen, if we get Venus in a final, everybody under the bus. But
no hold on. I'm telling you,
Under the bus and roll it back and forth and back and forth.
Listen, Serena gets to finals every week. If we get Venus into a final of a slam, all bets are off. But but I do say I felt like it was just a wonderful storyline on the WTA side.
Oh, it
was beautiful.
I mean, it's no secret. I'm a Serena fan. It's not a secret. You know what? I was not upset even a little bit. I thought that was so awesome. It was refreshing. You could see the belief just grow in Kerber, and it was nice to see because so many times we see Serena's opponents kind of wilt because they don't have that belief, And there was the best thing about that match was the end.
Yep.
And the love between the two of them. That was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Gabby?
Serena. Garbine, right?
I got a word from Gabby. Hold on.
But Serena.
Gabby has a word. Gabby and Margaret is saying lies, secret and lies.
But
they fucking hate each other.
But see, we have seen we don't get to see it often. We don't get to see it often. Serena is
not fan of losing.
Yes, and even in the latter stages of her career, she's gracious, but you could see that she was genuinely happy for Kerber. And it was almost like, come here, let me show you how this works. Let me help you have your moment. And she was happy for her. And for Kerber during her speech, I totally lost it and was crying when Kerber said to Serena, "You inspire me. It's because of you that I want to work this hard." And I was just like,
I
And
had no feeling.
I
I had
loved
no
it.
feeling.
I
You know what I
loved
thought about?
it.
You know what I thought about? I was there thinking, about about other people's feelings, not my own, because I have not. And I was here thinking, Maria, Caroline Wozniacki, and Agnieszka Radwanska. It's like, bitch, what the fuck? Where the fuck is this Serena? When I faced this woman in the Grand Slam finals, where is her when I faced him? Because she be beating me like if I stole her purse. Look, I was one match off of this woman ages ago,
Well,
Maria. And look, Angie, I am better shape than Angie. I won more shit than Angie. My tennis is better than Angie, and I don't have a slam win over Serena.
this
I
is
don't.
what I'm gonna say. This is my take on it. Serena no longer has the pressure of a possible Grand Slam this year.
Nope.
And you know what, bitches? You better watch out because she's going to play relaxed tennis. And she is going
And it's
to...
easy. Exactly.
You
I
know
just
what?
figured it.
I feel bad. Kerber, good on you, girl. I'm happy for you. You got your Grand Slam. It was refreshing to see. I love a new champion. I love it. I'm so stoked for her. It was awesome. But I feel bad for these women for the rest of the year. It's only
I tell you,
January. Serena
you know
is
something?
going to come with it.
Do you know
Well,
in
you know what,
I
though?
went
I don't know.
Caroline Wozniacki?
She's gonna come for it, and let's see how the ladies rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to.
Well, you know what? I'm not even. You know what? I'm not even so certain. You know why? Because Serena won some slams playing dodgy ass tennis, and you
Yeah.
know what happened last year? Last year and this year, she couldn't get over that hump by playing dodgy tennis. At least in the final, she got through some matches. So I think. I think it's a
I think
nice.
she's going to be ultra
No,
relaxed now.
actually,
I don't know. You know
Serena,
what? I don't
Serena
know.
coming forward. I mean, Serena. What I thought. I mean, Serena. I watched most of her matches. She was playing excellent tennis. She was playing the kind of tennis that she's supposed to play. Move forward, avoid getting in long rallies, whatever the case may be. And if
Especially
this
with
is the
the
mindset
knee.
that exactly, and finish points off quickly. If this is the mindset that is going to be Serena for the rest of the year, because that wasn't the Serena in the tournament. Girls, watch out. Remember, Caroline
Yeah.
Wozniacki had 3 winners in the 2014 US Open Finals. 3 winners. 3 Grand Stroke winners. 2 aces. 5 winners for the match. Angie, you got 2 sets. As enough, you got a set. And that was good enough for my most standard. Okay? And trust me. So I think it's going to relax Serena. Because I know, because we all know, had Serena won here in Melbourne Park, it was gonna set off. People were all waiting to write another, to dust off those old stories. Just
Yeah.
change the year and just plug
Yeah.
it back in the newspaper and feed us that garbage Grand Slam and how it's gonna define her and it's gonna define blackness in sports and all of this business. Look, people, let me give y'all some figures, okay? Serena, 21 majors. 21, Serena. The person who is next on tour right now is Venus Williams. The last time Venus won a major, 2008. She got
Wow.
7. 2008, okay?
Yeah.
The
Let
same year,
that soak in a minute.
let that soak in. After Venus, Maria with 5. Okay? 5. Okay? These are the numbers, okay? Serena has 3 times more major than her next rival on tour. And let us be clear,
Same.
Venus is Serena's only rival, people. And she's 35. Then after Maria,
But see, that's what I'm
after Maria
saying.
at 5, you have Vika, you have and Kuzi with 2.
But see,
And
I
then
don't
you got
think I don't think it's gonna be the same thing that you all want to say it is, which is that it's all on Serena's racket. Because I think the one thing that you have to concede, which is why Serena is changing her pattern of play. Serena is changing her pattern of play because she's 35. And yes, she was unsuccessful. Yeah, and yet she was unsuccessful for the most part during the final, which is it didn't quite work out for her. So obviously she's gonna get better at it. But I think the key piece is she's changing her game because she's 35. So
Sure.
this time around, I think her opponents also have something to do with it this year. I do. I
Well-
think that it's like how Now that she doesn't have a ride that she's on, yes, you're right. She's going to be more relaxed and she's going to be hitting.
Right.
But who's to say that that is the way that Serena plays well? I have no idea. Who's to say that? She usually starts off the year pretty well and
side.
you know, rides away. I mean, I do comfortably think she's probably going to win Wimbledon and maybe the U.S. Open. I don't know about Roland Garros, you know, so
nobody ever knows about Roland Garros.
I mean, and sometimes we don't even care about it.
Maria is the clay queen. Maria and Serena are the clay queen.
The only thing,
let that soak in for a minute.
The only thing that can really maybe disrupt it, because I mean, I really feel like there was a lot more going on that she, you know, just like at the U.S. Open. Oh, no pressure, no pressure, no pressure. I think, you know, the media wanted her to win, and of course her fans wanted her to win, though, so they could start this narrative all over for 2016. Oh. But Kerber winning, it's going to motivate some people, you know. It's going to motivate some people. Like, oh, I might be able to do that too.
You gotta give it
Petra.
But I don't.
You never know.
I'm not quick to say it because I also do think that I'm not one of those people who dismissed the idea that Serena was injured. Well, all tournament, and it didn't seem that way. We did see some precursors of issues with Serena that I don't think has fully gone.
Of course.
So I you know, and I think there are opportunities for people. That's all I gotta say.
I mean, look, there's been opportunity last year too. Okay, Heather Watson, Safasheva, Sloane Steven, y'all were up on a break. Vika, y'all were up on a break.
Yeah.
Okay, come to close shit out.
We get to sit back and watch. You know.
Yeah. So I mean,
the other thing, as an older woman, I think she would be she's gonna manage her time well, like how Roger does it.
She's playing a lighter schedule, she said this year.
Yeah. She's definitely going to play a lighter schedule. She's not going to be running over. You know, she has nothing to prove, as she keeps saying.
No, she doesn't.
To prove.
So what else was good with the ladies?
You know what? Let's just give a hand to Zhang Shui for taking out the number 2 player and riding that all the way practically. And of course, it's inevitable that she would go down to Kanta, the next no name, right? Because it's like that's what happens, right? You take down all the big dogs, the established players, the blah blah blah, and then you come up and meet somebody that you probably would have met first round normally.
Yeah.
And that's when you get the tussle. That's what because on some level she's actually your real peer.
She was so fun to watch.
Yeah.
She was so fun to watch. I mean, you know what? Really, for the women, this tournament, it was just good.
Yeah.
Everything was good. There were so many.
Very nice.
Yeah, Kanta.
Daria's story was great. I mean, she had a chance. Gavrilova had a real chance as well.
It was fun, and it was different. It was so nice to see some new faces who may, you know, not even necessarily new, but in places that we haven't seen them before.
Second week.
God, I didn't realize how much I missed it.
I know, but you know what? It says what?
They have personality.
They do.
They do. They're not washed into each other. They're very distinct beings. They're like personality. You could like one over the other. I know some people didn't like Zhang Shui, just like, you know, at least on Twitter, I would say. But you know what? They brought people to watch the tennis. The crowd loved them. I mean, and the crowd embraced them and whatever the case may be. And they have appeal not only in one area, but all over. Just saying, Zhang Shui, your time is in Zhuhai, okay, boo?
Come back for Zhuhai, baby. Come back for Zhuhai.
I can see your name all over that, okay?
Right?
Same.
Magic in the making.
All the young up-and-comers performed
and she's not even
well.
young. She's been around for a
No,
while.
but I don't even mean her. I meant all the young up-and-comers. Even the one that everybody else was in love with but got blitzed by Vika. Osaka.
Yeah.
Everyone had like a moment. It's weird. Like they may not have won their match, but they had moments where they stood out and they caused you to care. And so it's all on the upside. This tournament
I think it makes for
really fun.
the women's side makes for a lot to look forward to
Entertainment.
this year.
Yeah,
A lot
and
of
the people who we
entertainment.
thought that a lot of people that we thought that people who thought we could have been like Sloane Stevens, Madison Keys, who had shots and whatever the case to me. I mean, like, and there, it was pretty cool. I'm excited for the women's tournament. I am.
It
I
was
know.
good stuff.
Much so.
So,
Mm.
on to the men.
Um. um. Well,
So-
let's congratulate Novak Djokovic.
Congratulations.
To Novak Djokovic for winning his sixth, and he's now tied with Laver and Emerson at 11.
He
Yeah,
is,
I think
and
he's
he
tied with
is-
Emerson
And Laver, I think.
And he is
Yeah.
now the most winningest player at the Australian Open.
Mm-hmm.
Good on you, Nole. Well done.
Awesome.
Anyways,
On the men's side.
on the men's
Awesome.
side. Yes.
Awesome. I
Good
think
for
that's
you.
really great. And you know what? We're probably going to start talking about the men's side, but let's just acknowledge you are the
Actually,
shit.
let me-
Novak is the, wait, let me finish. Novak is the shit right now. Your shit
Right
don't
now.
stink. You're doing everything well, and it's awesome for you. And I have to say congratulations to your fans. I'm not a fan of all of them. Some of them are real mean asses, but they've been with you a long time. So you know what? It's always gratifying when the person you've liked for a very long time, because we're all fans of tennis. We understand that feeling when you're finally getting your moment in the sun. It's really lovely to see and appreciate as a fan.
Yeah. Enjoy it.
But other than that, let's move on.
Let's move on.
Look, I'm gonna say this, okay? Like, I know a lot of people think we're the Nola hating podcast, but that's not true. It really
No.
isn't.
I'm the only one
Gina
that
might
hates
call
him.
him the devil, but you know what? You know who I'm really hating on? It's the rest of the ATP. It's really them. It's really. I mean,
It's not
Look,
Nole, it's the rest
I'm
of
gonna put Twitter out of this equation because you know what? This 34-year-old man and daddy of four can't be the one to be making it happen. And let us all give a side eye to that Simone match because I don't know what the fuck that was, but that wasn't real. And don't be people expecting shit like that from Simone for the rest of the year. No.
Everybody's, people are saying, let's
No.
call up Simone and find out what his strategy was.
Mm.
No different strategy than Simone has ever done before.
I know. This is what Federer said too. He wasn't even trying to be shady. He was just saying, "This is what Simone does." I don't understand. And he
No,
watched.
but
And
you
Federer
know-
watched the match.
He wasn't saying anything about shady about Simone. You know, the question is, if you watch that Simone match, which I've now seen highlights because I tried to avoid the actual live one, if you watch the Simone match and there's only one question you have to ask yourself, which was, what the fuck was Djokovic doing? It has nothing to do with
Exactly.
Simone.
Well,
What was that about Djokovic?
listen. Let me tell you something.
One game lasted 20 minutes.
I
20.
watched the whole fucking thing. The whole thing.
Let's give you a toot for that, girl.
Yes.
You suffered for all of us.
I
You know
did.
what? You know what? We should put you in the egg to recover. We should put you in the
I
egg, the pod to
needed
recover.
the egg after that match. It drained me. It drained me. There is no reason that Simone did not win that match other than he is Simone. Because props to Novak, you had 101 unforced errors and you won. That shouldn't happen. Like ever. Ever.
Which in some ways really reveals the tour right
Yes.
now. It's
I mean-
emblematic of the tour that you are champion of, I'm sorry to say. Which is you're
Simone-
champion of a tour that you can get 101 errors. Yes, that
Oh
means
my
you've taken it
God.
to 5 sets, but there was never any chance that anyone... Let's be honest, though. Name a good match on the men's side these last 2 weeks. Pick one. One compelling match.
Okay, I'm putting up my draw sheet, okay? Let me see.
Let's
No,
pick one.
I'm
Just
really
pick a good
good,
one.
okay.
I know, really, pick a good one. Listen, I watch
Okay.
men's tennis. I do. So
I'm
if I
not
can't
always on the
name
K
one-
bandwagon. I'm not always on the K bandwagon, but you know what? I did enjoy the K Joe Sanga match. I did. For because I was like, all right, Kid Nishikori getting his shit together. No
Whatever.
monkeying around. I mean, like, I thought he
Whatever.
had the shit going. I
But
thought it was
was
good.
it a well played match on both sides?
Oh, yes. I mean, Sanga Sub could do nothing all day. I mean, like,
That's
Kid was
Sanga.
on him like,
But that's what I'm saying. Was it a well played match on both sides?
Sanga was a mental
sorry.
fucking mess. No, it wasn't. Sanga was
Look, I told you. I said
No.
because I'm not always on the K bandwagon. Okay, I mean,
Sanga forgot how to
I
play tennis.
I enjoy Monfils. I did enjoy him throughout the rounds. I thought he was playing steady, surprise. I
I'm
mean, that was
talking
compelling.
about
That Monfils was like,
matches, not people. Matches.
oh,
We could talk
oh,
about the WTA side, and we could talk about matches.
There
that
wasn't
were-
anything. There was
Mm.
nothing.
Were no compelling
Mm.
matches on the men's side.
Nadal versus Verdasco. Does that count?
That might have been the only match. That might have
Yeah.
been the only match
That was
that
good.
was actually worthy of us even thinking about. And that match, let's be honest, should have just been a final.
Yeah.
Because it was probably better than the final, which, to be honest, there was a question. This was the real thing. Someone asked me, am I going to wake up for the final? And I said to myself, seriously, I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that Novak Djokovic is going to win that match.
Right.
And I was just wondering whether he was going to win it in 3 sets or was he going to just do some weird drunken master thing and mentally go away for like a set and make it 4. But there was absolutely no doubt in my mind that Djokovic was going to win that match. So why should I wake up for that?
I got it.
Well-
I have it. I have the match. I do
What
have
is the
the
match.
match?
David Goffin and Dominic Thiem. That is it.
Oh, that was a good match.
Yes.
They're peers
Yes.
though, right? They're on the same level.
Yes.
I didn't watch it all. I saw a little bit of it, and what I saw of it was good. But I don't know. I
So, and before you fans try to come for my wig, let me just let you know. I watch a lot of tennis, okay? I woke up for the men's and women's finals. I
You were
should say I
great.
took a nap because I went to bed late, okay? And as for that men's finals, let me just let y'all know something, okay?
Second round,
That
right?
men's
That's a second round match. That's a second round match, right? Is that not a second round match?
qualifying.
I mean,
No, it was
second
not. They're
round
both
match.
seeded player. Dominic Thiem,
Listen,
19.
you should never, ever have a score line like that. I didn't see it all. My experience of the men's final was I didn't take a nap and I tried to stay up, which was stupid. So I saw the beginning of the match and I saw Murray was down 5-love and I was like, oh my God, this is a final? Like, really? This is the number 1 and number 2 player in the world in a final?
And I think he
he's
got it
down
in 15 minutes.
5-love?
I think
And then I
think
fell
Murray
asleep.
got it in like 15 minutes.
Yeah, I fell asleep at 5-love, and I woke up, and Novak was holding the trophy. Was I surprised? Absolutely not. I was then watching, the crawler at the bottom of the screen, and I saw that the whole entire thing didn't even last 3 hours.
Nope.
And I was
So
just
let me
like,
let me ask you something. What's the? I mean, who's giving us more bang for our buck right now? I don't care.
don't know what.
the women.
I don't care what anyone says. I know. Listen, this is the value of being a fan. Because I'm a fan, and I don't have to care about saying the right thing because people are going to say that I'm coming for men's tennis or whatever. But let me just let you know right now, men's tennis is anemic. It is anemic right now. It is anemic.
Well, not in Nola's case.
Well,
He's got extra red blood cells.
fine. Fine.
I'm gonna give you a new song for that one, Janina.
The reality is, if you're talking about drama, if you're talking about
There's none.
unsure outcomes for which you are unsure, it is not on the ATP side.
No.
There are no compelling stories happening on the ATP side, aside from the fact that we have one guy who is operating in a stratosphere where he is existing all on his own, and I'm supposed to care about that because he deserves it. I don't give a shit about that. Let's be honest. I don't care if he deserves it. Great. I don't watch tennis because somebody deserves it. I watch tennis to care about the matches as they unfold.
Right.
So the lectures that we've been getting about you've got to love Djokovic, you've got to appreciate Djokovic. Listen,
No, I don't.
Djokovic, it's great. I'm happy for you, but let me tell you something. I'm not happy for the men's game. It has nothing to do with you. I just am not happy for the men's game. We have a top 10 that is ridiculous. We could not have gotten anyone else in the top 10 to compete with you and had a more compelling scoreline. That's problematic just for the tour in general. And let me tell you, if this was happening on the women's side, we would not hear the end of it. So this idea that somehow the men's tour is healthy and robust and strong, and that Novak Djokovic is the king of a jungle of real firebrands, there's none of that. None of that's happening. Let's stop pretending.
No, it's not happening. I mean, this tournament.
Hold on, before if you don't believe us, believe the numbers, because Uniqlo is giving Nikki Nishikori more money than Novak Djokovic. Plenty more money.
And it has nothing to do with this is just an accident. Probably it's just an accident of the time period for Djokovic that he happens to be head of a tour that is, I hate to say it, but just really suspect. There's just nothing compelling happening on the tour beneath a certain number. There really isn't. Everyone seems distracted. They seem as if they want to do something else besides play tennis. And I don't mind. This is fine. I do you. But I just feel like we've got like a gaggle of people on the WTA side, eager to jump, fish, go over, climb over, do whatever. And on the men's side, it just feels like nothing is happening. And you know what? I understand this because I've been following men's tennis. And none of the matches, we didn't get any interesting battles, even in earlier rounds, so that you could say, that was awesome. Nothing. There was none of that. Everything just felt like it was going by rote. Or was that just me?
No, it was. I mean, we kind of, we had the Nole Simone match, and it was good. I mean, it went 5 sets. It was good. It was a good match. It was messy from Novak's side, and I'm going to put it out there. And I know that my brain has been altered because of all of the match-fixing talk. I can't be the only one that was thinking this, but I'm like, am I watching match fixing? Because what the fuck is this shit? I'm serious. I am serious because you know what? What did everybody talk about? How it's so easy to do, and the players are so good at just missing on purpose by an inch. And I'm like, I had no other explanation. And I'm not saying that Novak fixed the match, but it creeped in my mind because it just didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. I mean, the reality is, Gilles Simon is what? 30, he's 30 or 31 years old.
Yeah, that's his age, yes.
Federer is he 35 yet?
34.
34. Mm-hmm. So these are the two people that gave him the most trouble. Why?
And I'm not even convinced that the two people who gave him the most trouble because of their game. Because honestly, last year you could have sold me that, right? But you can't sell me on that because and this is the reality. We had commentators telling us that Novak Djokovic was going to have a lag because. Tell you something.
Because of what?
Because of the 5. Really have a lull. There might be the possibility that he was going to be feeling it in his legs. Well, let's be honest. Novak wasn't feeling anything in his legs because he took care of Kay like it was nobody's business. Had a little bit of creepy issues with Fed, but I think that was just Novak having Fed issues. And then he had probably a little bit of crowd issue, and also because let's be honest, the freaking organizers and their roof decision really threw Federer's rhythm off. So maybe something else could have happened there. You might have gotten yourself a 5-set match. I don't know. That was really dumb to because having an older guy sit down for 10 minutes isn't the wisest thing. AO
Yeah.
organizers. So deciding to close the roof when there actually wasn't rain yet was really dumb. Let's just talk about that for a moment. But the reality was, I was watching the men's tour, and I just didn't get a sense that the men believed it was possible, that they cared that anything was possible, and that everything was really 100% on Nole's say-so.
Actually, nobody said no. I cannot recall a single man saying. I may not get it right because I don't listen to all the press conference, whatever. That they actually believed that they had a shot,
Nope.
that they had the game. I didn't hear anybody say that.
No,
That there
everyone
was a
was
struggle.
convinced he was
No.
invincible.
Yes. And he sure looked that way because I'm telling you, Murray, I no,
Well, what the
no.
fuck
That
happened? I mean, I
scoreline.
didn't, I didn't get to see the beginning of Federer and Novak. I woke up and started watching at the point that was, the highlight of the match because nobody really cares about Novak's tennis. It seems like they just care about what people do against him. Anyways, I saw that point. You know what I'm talking about, the passing shot.
Yeah.
But by that time, the scoreline was already 6-1, 6-2. And I'm like, what the
Novak came out like he had gone through that pod twice.
Actually, versus K, he said that he went into the. So after Simone, he went into the pod, and before K, he went
in
into
again.
the pod again,
So he did
and then he
at
went into the
night.
pod again after. He did
In
it
the
in the day
morning.
and in the night. Yes.
His blood must have been stinging because let me tell you, he came out for that Federer match like he saw Federer's ass and he was gonna be fucking it. Like that's what it was. Honestly, because I mean I have to use sexual analogies because that's what Novak uses. But seriously, it was like Novak saw Federer at a gay club and he was like, I want that dude. And he
Exactly.
was on him like nothing. He never pulled away from the baseline at any moment. He gave Federer absolutely no breathing room. But I have to say, it was like he was high. He was like floating out there. Okay? He was everywhere you wanted him to be.
He was.
And you know what? And I know everybody thinks that's impressive, but when I see shit like that happening on a court, I go, okay, boo. All right. Let's talk about this match in 3 years when we all ask ourselves what the fuck was going on in that match. Because it was true. If you look to the right, he was already running there. If you look to the left, he was running there.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. Because after watching the first set, the first set against Murray,
if I serve it, he's already there.
yeah. So watching that first set against Murray, and then I start to watch the set, I'm just like, what are we? Y'all are trying to fuck with me here, right? I'm believing this bullshit score. I fuck this shit. I mean, even Nolan fans were just like, put your foot on his throat.
Yep.
Kill him. Make history. 6-1, 6-love, 6-love. I mean, I'm telling you, that first set, I heard the commentator was just like, Murray's really getting into it. Motherfucker is down a breadstick. Getting into what? He's in nothing. He's not in the conversation. What are you talking about?
I just know that something's got to give. Something has got to give.
You know what's gonna give? I'll tell you what's gonna give.
Normal.
Wait, let me tell you what's gonna give. And I'll tell you straight up. I know exactly what's gonna give. And I mean, I'm sorry. I hope Novak. You know what, Novak, you keep that run going, honey, because I've seen the future, and I don't think it's gonna be a good future. But you just keep going as long as you can, because you know what's gonna give? Audience. There's no reason to tune into a match if it includes Novak Djokovic in it. I'm just telling you straight up. And you know what? And it's great. It's great. You keep doing that, boo. But there's absolutely no reason to tune into a match where the opponent is Novak Djokovic. At this point in time, we have to wait it out. And it's not interesting tennis. No, it's not.
It's not interesting tennis. I mean, I'm talking about the physical game itself.
Yeah,
the type of tennis he's playing.
Yeah.
It isn't interesting.
And you know what? And it's not even because, listen, I appreciated Novak's rise because Novak's rise came at a very important time in the game because Rafa Nadal had a stranglehold on the tour. He did. Mm-hmm. When Novak was rising, Rafa still had clay on lockdown, and we had Del Potro struggling. all of the people who were potentially eking out. Andy Murray was, still hadn't figured out if he wanted to stop winning Masters or start winning Grand Slams, or majors, as they say. So when Novak Djokovic emerged, I was like, good for you, because his game matched up really well with Rafa, and it really gave us Rafale, which I'm not a huge fan of that, but it was a much better pairing than Fed Rafa. And, no, it was a much better pairing than Fed Rafa, and it was much better, it was much better for the tour to have Rafa have someone challenge him. The tour really got a bump and a rise out of that. We are waiting for Novak's challenger because the tour needs it.
And it doesn't seem to be anywhere in sight.
It's not happening. And you know what? I get it. Novak's fans, they can't hear this because they think that we're hating him. No, we love tennis. We love men's tennis. We want to enjoy men's tennis again. We want your guy to get an actual foil who has the legs to stay with him. That's what we're saying. And I know Federer says that he can play for five hours, but you know what, Fed? If you go 3 sets, if you go 4 sets every round, you're not going to be able to do it when you eventually meet Novak. No, I don't care what you say. I
didn't expect him to to do well with him. But I'm going to tell you something. The reality of the situation, if Nola is continuing with this brand of tennis, he's going to continue to rule because physically, nobody else on the tour right now, any young person, the generation that's behind him, they're not strong enough to play him.
Why is he so strong? He doesn't look strong.
They're not strong enough to play him. I mean, in many ways, I see...
It's experience, right? He has because realistically, Novak had been on tour as long as, quote-unquote, Rafa had been on tour, because they're the same generation. But he started peaking later. So theoretically, Novak's challenger should be on the tour now. That person should be here. It should be someone.
I have a little
less traveled.
I mean, the only person I think possibly, and I'm just saying it just from a physicality point of view, might be Kyrgios, but he doesn't have that much in his game plan. He can only come out and be like playing lights out tennis.
And he also doesn't have the fitness.
Kind of movement.
And he doesn't have fitness. And he doesn't have fitness.
I mean, Stanley maybe. Stanley
is the only person really who can outmuscle Novak, which is silly because he's a fucking beanpole.
But the other thing too that Stanley doesn't have the consistency.
He's a beanpole, but he's very strong.
Yeah.
He's very strong. There's a lot of strength in that tiny body.
Whatever.
We don't know why, but there's a lot of strength in there.
Oh, we know why.
So the only person... Why is that, Janina?
The egg.
Well, let's be honest. You know what?
Let's talk about the egg. Let's talk about the egg.
Because it keeps coming up. And in 2011, we couldn't talk about the egg. But now we've seen several articles recently, and we can. Talk about the egg, please.
Oh, somebody getting the notes? Somebody getting the notes? Hold up. Is that paper here rustling in the background, Janina?
She got notes.
Translate from Dutch?
Okay, listen.
Okay. Tell us about the egg.
When the news of Novak using the egg came out, what you said it was 2011. I'm not sure.
It was 2011. Yes. There was
when tennis was invented. Tennis was invented in 2011.
No, 2011, the Wall Street Journal, Tom Perrotta wrote a piece about the egg.
Right.
WADA says, because people are like, what is this? Is this fair? Is this some kind of like supernatural doping mechanism? You know, what's going on? Nobody knew about it, and people wanted to know.
Well, actually, hold on.
Let her finish.
Okay, continue.
Because she got notes, Realz.
Yeah, she does.
I don't have notes on this, but but so WADA comes out and says, this isn't illegal. It is frowned upon. And then we didn't hear anything else. Nothing. Nobody talked about it for years. And now it's all of a sudden resurfaced, and I'm not really sure why. I'm really not.
It's resurfaced because Tom Perrotta then followed up with an article this week where the machine what is the actual legitimate name of this machine, please?
I don't know.
It's called a hyperbaric chamber.
A hypobaric chamber, yes.
Because the hyperbaric chamber is actually very close to the Australian Open site, and many people have now joined Novak Djokovic in entering the hyperbaric chamber. So now it no longer has to be a secret, because there are no rules against it. It means that it is open for grabs.
Right.
Even it's not in the spirit of sport. That's what Wada said. It's not in the spirit of sport.
And let's talk about why
it's available.
Well, Wada mentioned it. Hold on. Sorry. Wada mentioned this situation back in. They had this conversation. This issue came up, I think, in 2008, 2009 about Wada, and Wada declined to make any statement about it. And what I noticed is that the conversation that I'm reading in the Parada piece and elsewhere, they're not saying exactly what it is this hyperbaric chamber is supposed to do and can do.
Oxygenate your blood, no?
Exactly.
Yes.
So the science is that, as per my understanding of it, people can correct me if I'm wrong, is that we typically breathe, humans breathe in the regular atmosphere, if you live in a smog-free environment, about 20% oxygen in our daily life when we're running up and down. And when we exert physical activity, what happens is that the red blood cells, when you walk and you feel that muscles tightening up, is lactic acid building up. And lactic acid grabs onto your red blood cells. So
hold on, let me insert something right there. If people don't know, when you work out and you're sore the next day, that's why. It's the lactic acid buildup. So that you can relate that to your personal life.
Right. So athletes, when you look at athletes in the endurance, is that what they're doing is that they're training their muscles to basically endure the fatigue and fight over the fatigue. So that's why they could stay involved in the situation longer. Now, when you think about oxygen and endurance, think about marathon runners, and why is it that marathon runners, the best, seem to come from East Africa? It isn't because black people can run long distance better than white people. It's because...
Of course it is. Don't be silly.
And if you notice that Japanese athletes as well, is that they train in high altitude area. It's the reason why United States Olympic Training Center is in Colorado. Because it's above sea level. So when you're above sea level, there is I think there is like more oxygen, way above, there's more oxygen.
Well, and your body has to work harder when you are training at a higher altitude.
So your adjustment is better.
Right.
So
exactly.
If you train, so if you train at this high altitude and you train well and you perform well at this high altitude, when you come back to something lower, your performance is going to be that much greater.
Right. So your typic's supposed to be. I mean, granted that we can't make like some Dustin Brown into some magic machine, okay? I'll make me into some top level athlete. You have to have the goods, okay?
Right.
So
yes.
What is happening? I mean,
what's the hyperbaric machine doing?
So the hyperbaric chamber is basically, it's putting you in 100. You're breathing in 100% oxygen, basically, for time period, and at least over an hour and so forth. So what it's doing is that the newspaper describe it as being just getting 100% oxygen, but what they're not saying is what is this 100% oxygen doing? It's increasing the red blood cells.
It increases, but you need to understand, if you don't if somebody doesn't know, what your red blood cells do is what actually carries the oxygen through your body. So if you have more red blood cells carrying more oxygen, you are going to recover quicker. Now,
and you tend to tire less.
You tire less. Quickly. You will be stronger. You will have more endurance.
Exactly.
The problem that I have with this is there's no pretty way to say it. This is a fancy way of blood doping without removing the blood and putting it back in your body. And that is why WADA is kind of going, it's not very good, but it's not illegal. It's frowned upon, but they can do it.
What do you say to the person, though? Because I have had this discussion online. Mm-hmm. What do you say to the person who says that it's available for anyone to use, and you can you can plop down your dollars and go into this machine.
You can. You absolutely can. And
Well,
you know
you
what?
can. I mean, like,
Maybe everyone should take advantage of it, but that
Well,
doesn't
my
make
thing
it.
is, if it's the case, then
oh,
I think that every single tournament should have a machine available like you would anything. Because
well,
if this
someone
is
said
some
they
sort
should
of
do that.
reparative, yeah, they should. If it's a reparative and helpful, then it shouldn't be something that is beneficial only to the people who have the money. Then this should
Well,
be
I have to
something that a
say,
tournament should invest in and make available to every single app. Just like they have that cold water thing that everybody goes in.
the
Why
ice
not have
bath.
Right.
several of these? Yeah, the ice baths. Why not have several of these machines? If we're going to insist that people play 5 sets, and if we think that fitness and those kinds of things shouldn't have a bearing on how people are performing on the court, which it really does, because if you're tired, you can't perform well. And if somebody has this machine, they're not experiencing tiredness. So then why don't we just make this available to everyone? You get your
Well,
slot and you
I'm gonna
go in
I'm
there.
gonna say something here. I'm gonna say something here. Well, two things. Let me be absolutely clear in case the haters. I love haters, but you must hate judiciously. If you're not hating judiciously, you're just a troll. So let me be clear and before you haters get a titty attack. No, according to WADA, no, WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency, can set down rules, but
Yes, they
tennis doesn't
can.
have to follow these rules, right?
Sure.
Tennis, if they want them involved, but it case to me. However, when it comes to the Olympics, and I think WADA is involved in that situation, they have to do some kind of stringent situation. Now, let me be clear. What WADA considers to be blood doping is literally manipulating the blood physically, like taking a pill that can literally manipulate the blood, injecting something into your bloodstream. That's what so it's physically and actually having some manipulation with the actual blood. They don't consider this to be necessarily blood doping.
But it
Right.
is
This isn't the case.
manipulating your blood, though.
But
But you
it
are
is.
manipulating your
But
blood.
But
is
I'm
Exactly.
it
manipulating the
is it
blood
a
of
case
them.
of but is it the case, well, just because there's not enough of it doesn't mean it's not a sort of doping. But isn't it the
Right, but
case
then
then,
they
wait,
don't.
but
The
isn't
rules
this the
doesn't. Sorry.
well, just saying, but isn't this the case then that the maybe WADA hasn't really accurately caught up with technology? Is that now
Maybe, but
you have something that's actually doing the manipulation of the blood in the way that the outcome that you think, which is blood manipulation, not in a pill
well,
form, not in a whatever form, but through this machinery.
but let me be clear about a couple of things to that situation. WADA is not completely open and fair as we are led to believe. WADA has a lot of issues within it, right?
Yeah.
And there are ways in which they set up players by set up athletes by simply not being very specific about what it is that they are looking for or what
Mm.
it is can be problematic. So, and you have to understand too, like with the whole anti-doping situation, that supplements and the supplement industry, particularly in America, is very fucked up. In fact,
Yeah.
anyone can make any kind of crazy claim, and it isn't for them to make the claim to prove that their claim is true. It's for
Yeah.
you to prove that their claim isn't true. So
True.
that
Yeah.
sets up a whole bunch
And,
of like
and let's
complicated issues. But also, what is happening here is that water is for this whole one of the interesting things that's coming out in this situation is three things. One, there isn't enough science involved in it, and the people who are leading this push for this thing, they're not real doctors.
And they're dodgy
Okay,
as fuck. They're like
they're
people
dodgy
who sell
as fuck.
supplements.
Exactly. The people
because
who are
let's
involved.
let's be real. I mean, this is what the hyperbolic chamber is supposed to do. The claims that it makes is that it increases the oxygen to tissues 25 times that of normal levels. Really? It
But
stimulates the
Janine,
production of body stem cells. It boosts or decreases swelling and inflammation. It's a detoxification source. I mean, is this something that belongs in sports?
well, the other situation, now that you're talking about that, and I'm gonna, put a little cricket say for people. The issue that has been coming up that has been spoken of on the side, and I think this is why WADA is kind of hesitant to have any conversation in it because they can't fully know what it's about yet or fully comprehend, and maybe they're dodgy as fuck about it because they're deliberately dodgy as fuck because we know how that works. Like we're intentionally not doing anything intentionally.
Yeah.
Um, it's supposed to be, it's on the hush. Athletes have known the hyperbaric chamber as being a masking agent allowing them to use doping elements and be able to go into the hyperbaric chamber and have it being able to mask it doesn't show up on the test. No, let me be clear. I am not saying that Novak Djokovic is on any kind of doping and he is using this as a masking
And
agent.
he's not the only athlete that uses it.
He's not
It's
the only
not.
athlete that's using it.
Many
I'm not saying
athletes
it's-
use
You know,
it across many sports.
I was just having a conversation with someone about this, not specifically about the machine, but the idea that different people can make judgment calls about what's possible or what's necessary in the sport. Because we were talking about swimming, and remember that funky swimming gear,
Right.
that they
That's
thought-
now.
Right.
Yeah.
They thought that was unfair, and so they actually banned that.
The reason that was unfair, the
Well, I
reason
mean,
why they were,
but regardless of why it was, but they
no. The
disclosed
reason why they
why.
were getting crazy with that everybody now had the suit. The problem was that what we were seeing with the suit is depending on which swimming pool you were in, particularly in Beijing, because that was a perfect cube. So most swimming pools are not necessarily like a cube. I mean, like they're lanes, but it's usually extend wider than we can see and deeper than it really is. So Beijing was a cube. What was happening with the suit and overall was that people who shouldn't be breaking records was breaking records, and
But that's
records were
what's-
dropping
but
them a
that's-
second.
But that's
So
what's
it was getting
happening.
out of control.
But see, that's what's happening in tennis. It's the same thing that people are saying about racket technology. People are doing shots that they would not have been able to do because of the racket technology. So for me, I just feel like tennis has to have a conversation about what is tennis. What do you want it to be about? I have no
Right.
judgment about it. You can decide. I just want you to make a decision. I don't want you to say it's not in the spirit of sport and then make no decision. So
Right.
if you're not going
And
to
it's not
tamper with
fair
racket
across the
technology,
board.
it's not. Yeah. If you're not going to talk about racket technology, you're not going to talk about these recovery
courts.
mechanisms and courts and court speed
Yeah.
and all those other things and balls, weight of balls, different balls, blah, 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 blah. If you're not going to talk about all of these kinds of logistical, instrumental pieces of your sport, I can't take you seriously as a sport.
Exactly. And that is where the problem lies. And I got to say, I agree with you, Andreen, 100%. If this is going to be something, the hyperbolic chamber, I mean, that is going to be a part of tennis, then provide it for your players. Absolutely.
Everyone. If it's about
Let it
recovery.
be-
Yeah, if
yes.
it's about recovery, yeah.
Then let it be on site at every single place and have it available
And it's
to
cheap
everybody.
too. It's like $100 and something a session. So it's really cheap.
So you invest
It really
in that,
is.
because otherwise I don't want a technology. Listen, I don't mind you have a physio that works you out well, you have a this that does that well, but don't tell me that you have an athlete who, the thing for me, this is the issue for me, because listen, I'm a learner. I'm learning about tennis as I go. But the people who've been talking about tennis forever and claim to be experts at tennis, they tell us that tennis is about margins. At the very top, the top guys, the distinctions between the top guys is small, right? So you're telling me that this machine and its claims isn't meaningful enough for us to ask ourselves what is the unfair advantage that is being given by the person using this? If the margins are so small in tennis, shouldn't we be exploring this question?
Well, we are.
Not like, yeah, it's not like
We
you're
are.
taking. No, but
That's
you're.
the
It's
problem.
not like it's not like you're taking. Because that's always the claim. Well, I can't take a player that's 100 and whatever, put him in the machine. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about somebody who's at their peak, being placed in this machine,
Right.
even though the others in his peer are supposedly not using that machine, or maybe they are. And if they are all using that machine, then good. Then at least we all know the playing field is level.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about margins in tennis, and even if it's not doing the things that it says, tennis supposedly is about the mental game. So if the person believes it, that's just as compelling.
Because didn't Murray try it and be like, not for me.
Yeah, and it was
Doesn't do
interesting.
anything.
Yeah, and it was interesting because somebody, when I raised the question online, and I said, well, I'm really happy that Murray's not taking that risk. And he's like, well, he didn't decide not to do it because of ethical reasons. I'm like, listen, I don't have any questions about ethics. Ethics does not come into this for me at all, because let's be honest, it's sport. I don't have those expectations of athletes, and I don't mean that in a wrong way. Ethics and athletes don't go together in my mind. I I feel like that's a job for, I don't know, a pastor. But anyway, so, you know, those are not questions I ask of them. But I just really believe that we should be exploring that, because when you have an athlete who's using this machine that supposedly has no benefit, but who's coming out there and is leaps and bounds ahead of his other compatriots, maybe his other compatriots should be getting in that machine too.
Right.
Because I don't know. Is it having an impact? I don't know if it is. But if it is, surely everyone else should be having that same benefit.
Right.
And so I lobby for all the Grand Slams to have it. I mean, of course it can't happen, right? Because then there's also differential rules. It's allowed in Australia, but it's not allowed in Europe. Right?
Oh, is that right? I don't know.
Yes.
Yes. That was
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Apparently, yes, there is issues in, according to the doctor, and I put that in quotation mark, who is not a chiropractor anymore.
The doctor who had his license suspended for a brief spell because he was
he's not been a chiropractor for 20 years.
Yeah.
Well, chiropractors aren't real doctors anyways.
Oh, Lord. But yes, that machine you're not able to use that machine everywhere. According to the article. Yes. Yeah. Europe apparently has the same issues that WADA has, which is we just don't know. So and there's a reason.
Well, there's a reason for that. That's a problem. That's a problem.
But still, but Europe made a ruling on this. You can't. I think European unions don't have you setting up these clinics
that you can just roll up in.
Yeah, I think that's what it's having problems with. You can't set up these clinics and whatever the case may be and say you're offering these medical advantage when you're not a medical doctor and you can't prove these medical things.
This seems like a perfect time to roll into independent bodies exploring.
Yes. More shady shit. It's shady all around. Shady.
Who is shady? Shady. Sally Shady. Oh, she's here.
So, let's talk about this completely independent review that we are having surrounding the match fixing scandals. Apparently, tennis has decided to bring in someone, or the ATP, yes.
No, it's not just tennis.
It's everybody.
Seven bodies. Seven bodies agreed.
The seven kingdoms have come together and decided that they are going to have an independent investigation.
They're going to deal with the White Walkers. They're going to deal with the White Walkers.
They are coming for you. The dark. Oh, shit, I forgot the quote. Oh, wait. I don't know. The dark, what is it? I need to know now. I don't know, whatever. So, anyways, the seven governing bodies.
They're coming for you match-fixing motherfuckers. That's what they're doing, okay?
And the person that they have chosen to head all of this is a man out of London by the name of Adam Lewis. He is in charge of this independent review. Now,
Independentish
review. So, this man, however, has a very long history with tennis. He has ties. Are you ready for this list? He has ties
according to the New York Times article by Ben Roethlisberger. In case somebody tried to come sue us.
Yes, Ben.
We give credit where we give credit where credit is due. Okay, we
do give credit. Everybody does not, but we do. Anyways, Ben, this is on you. So, Adam Lewis, the London-based attorney in charge of the independent review, has ties with the ITF, the Grand Slam Committee, the LTA, IMG, excuse me, Octagon, Nike, and none other than the Tennis Integrity Unit.
Wait, is he investigating the tennis unit that he worked for before?
Apparently.
Oh, weird. How does that happen?
I don't know. Not only does he have ties to all of these tennis organizations and sponsors and, all of that lovely stuff, listen up, folks. This is the attorney who got Richard Gasquet's penalty for kissing a girl who had cocaine in her mouth reduced. This is the attorney who got him off. And
This is the attorney who listened to that story and said, that seems plausible.
Yes.
Actually,
This is
I'm
the
gonna take
man.
that back. I think that was the attorney who came up with the story because there is no
Oh,
fucking way.
no.
This is the man in charge
That's
of our match-fixing scandal. He is obviously independent, unconnected, completely unbiased, all of those things, right? And let us tell you that according to our friend Ben, there were other people up for the job.
But you know what? You know who's not up for the job? You know who's not up for the job? Anyone who's never worked with tennis. Because anyone who's never worked with tennis would actually be asking questions like, why is this happening? How did these two things get connected? Why is this happening here?
So
but if
now,
you
one other little fact about Mr. Lewis, our London-based attorney in charge of the Independent Review.
He represented Mariana Puerta.
Yes, he did. Who tested positive in 2005 French Open final.
He beat Nadal, beat him.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Teenage Nadal beat Mariana Puerta in 2005.
Let me tell you what I get away from this man. This man is all about getting dopers off.
Well, and you know the other thing for me, this is one of the things that I took away from this because this issue came up the last time, and I said that it was important. It was important for the organization and for anyone that's going to respect the organization, for the organization to at least appear, even if they don't, but at least appear to take it seriously. When you do this, it doesn't appear that you take it seriously. It actually feels like you're part of the game, right? When you say, listen, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, we're going to use this guy here. That's not a real independent person. If they had chosen someone who had no connection, it would have been. It would have at least appeared, which is now why they were willing to say that whatever came out of the review, they would adopt 100%. Because on some level...
Well, I have the paper in front of me, Andrine. I have the paper. I have the review paper. I have the results of the review.
What's the...
I do have the results of the review.
Tell me.
So I, Adam Lewis, who has conducted a thorough investigation of all match-fixing allegations put forward by various bodies. I'm talking to you, Heidi. Have looked into all of these allegations, have interviewed hundreds of players, spent hundreds of hours conducting this independent-ish investigation. And here are the results of my independent-ish investigation, which was very, very thorough.
And independent.
Wink. And independent-ish. I independently found that match fixing not to be a problem at the upper echelon of this fine sport. Tennis remains an integral part of our society, historically a big and important event. It will not be marred by these selfish and rude rogues and lies attempting to demean it. It is not. There is no match fixing at the top, especially not at Wimbledon. Match fixing we have found to be a rare, a very rare, like seeing a blue whale having sex event. We have found after our thorough and independent investigation that we have found very, very, very few instances of match fixing, and we have dealt with all of those, find all of those results secretly. And do know that we have made punish all the players, the very
Secretly.
few players secretly.
But it's
Mhm.
supposed to be transparent.
Yes.
And I have published, I have my full finding, which you will not get to see because this is an independent-ish investigation. I have handed off to the ATP, and I have made certain and several recommendations, and they have assured me that they will take all of them into consideration. And finally, I love tennis. I love the ATP. And I love that big fat check that my friend, Chris Commode, helped me and set up. And what a wonderful man Chris Commode is. And we're going to have him say a few words right now.
I
No.
love it.
Thank you,
So,
Adam Lois.
thank
No.
you, Realz.
Thank you,
Thank
FedEx,
you.
for bringing
I
that.
think you deserve an award. And speaking of awards, we have one last award to give out before we end this lovely thing.
Mm.
And it is the... Are you ready for it?
Hold on.
Oh, wrong drum. The Wooden Spoon Award. Andreen, tell us what the Wooden Spoon Award is.
I feel as if the wooden spoon doesn't belong here today. Well, traditionally, the wooden spoon is given to a team or an individual which has come last in a competition, but also to runner-ups. But in our case, in tennis, the wooden spoon is presented to the always fearsome, the always awesome Rafa Nadal.
Diva Doll. Yeah! And they say we hate Diva Doll on this show. I mean,
Let
come on now.
let us explain exactly what the Wooden Spoon Award means. It is the person who started a trail of losing.
Yes, the wooden spoon traditionally is granted, especially in tennis. Usually what it means is that you've lost to the person who's not necessarily better than you. That's usually what the
And
wooden
then everybody else after that
follows
loses.
that sequence.
So, this is what happened at the Australia Open 2016. Rafa played Verdasco.
Mhm.
So, Rafa lost to Verdasco. Verdasco went on, and he lost to Sella. Sella.
I just have
Sella
to say
went
that. I'm
on.
sorry. You know how I feel about that match. You know how I feel about that match.
I know, but it happened. So then he goes on, and he loses to Kuznetsov, who in turn lost to Monfils.
Andreas Kuznetsov.
Monfils
Mhm.
lost to Milos. Milos lost to Murray.
Yes, he did.
And Murray lost to Novak. Congratulations, Rafa, for starting the trail of losers. You got the wooden spoon.
And let me just say, I mean, and I have to say this, I mean, like, Murray is, I am indifferent to Murray generally. And Murray, I am so happy. I hope you get to England safely and be by Kim's side. And I hope Nigel is okay. And that maybe he'll leave Anna alone. But I digress. Hopefully you have a healthy baby boy and you name him Realz. But anyway, Murray, I just gotta say this. We gotta look at our life and we gotta look at our choices. Okay, this is a moment for you. Okay, we're having an intervention for you. Okay, Boo, maybe it's time that you and Amelie not spend your resources in Australia. Fuck Australia. Do like what they used to do back in the day. Forget Australia. Forget Melbourne, okay? Leave that for Peggy. Leave that for Nolan, okay? Concentrate your efforts maybe at Paris, since you know Clay God now. Well, Clay get demigod. Let's do 100 Nebo. since you're a clay demigod, or maybe Wimbledon, or maybe marshal your resources for U.S. Open because it could probably survive the humidity. I mean, you beat Nole in a fucking crazy windy, you know, U.S. Open. People might give that Wimbledon win a side eye, but nobody could dare put an asterisk next to that New York City win. But I'm just saying, boo, look at your life, look at your choices. This is your 5th Australian Open final, isn't it?
Listen,
2010,
he's gonna get it.
2012, 13,
Mother.
15, and 16, boo.
Hey, at
And
least
do
your
you know
brother
how many?
won.
Wait, 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 wait,
Get it. He's gonna get
wait,
it.
wait, wait. Do you know how many sets Murray has won? 2. 2.
Last year and a year before, right?
Yes, 2.
Poor guy. Hey,
No, last year
one of the
and
Murray brothers took home a trophy. It just
2013.
wasn't the one we thought might get it first.
Yes,
That's all.
Murray,
No
you're
big
2 and
deal.
15 in sets. Yes, Junior, Jamie, sorry. Congrats. But you know who was a doubles? You know what the doubles specialist is? Not even Sonia Mirza and Martina Hingis, who winning every shit. You WTA ladies, y'all need to step you know, Venus and Serena, get y'all ass back in doubles. I'm tired of this Santina bullshit. I'm tired of this Santina bullshit. You know, I'm just saying.
Hey,
But
and
that
I
doesn't
do
mean that I
just,
hate her.
I
But
do
Bruno
need to
Suarez-
mention,
What?
I do need to mention that our lovely Twitter friend Renee, y'all go to his profile on Twitter. He is at Renee Stance, and check out his wooden spoon award gift because it's everything.
Which, by the way, I feel was a real apt description of the ATP tour in Australia.
Absolutely.
Very much defined by the wooden spoon.
Absolutely.
So let's see who collects it next year in Roland Garros because
What do we have to look forward to?
I feel like the
Yeah.
ATP is gonna keep that.
What do we got to look forward to?
Well, coming
What's
up,
coming
you
up
know,
next?
it's gonna be springtime and Miami coming up pretty soon, and you know what we love to do? Sizzle! Miami sizzle! Picking all the hot men's. Yes, we will.
Yeah, this year in Miami,
So,
we get to do it all over again. We'll refresh our lists.
yes, and you know what? And Venus is going to Indian World. I don't know how I feel about that.
We're not going to
Same.
talk about that yet.
We'll talk about that when that comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
we'll talk
and
about that later.
we got lots of Olympic drama coming up. We're gonna talk about, so trust me. We got don't think Realz isn't got shit to talk about. We got
it all. You will get
We
it
got it
all right here.
So,
We keep it
I
real.
hope you folks enjoyed our US. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. See, Melbourne.
It was the
Melbourne,
Australia
Melbourne.
Open wrap-up.
So,
Congratulations, Kerber. Congratulations,
so There was
Nole.
Merriment on the women's side, and there was Moaning on the men's side. Hence why
Congratulations to Murray #2.
Yes, Murray.
And
Hope you came have a
Bruno.
wonderful baby. And Bruno and Jamie and Santina. Congratulations. And I enjoyed the wheelchair event. That was really good, people. Really good. And Angie Kerber, I'm so happy that you won. Excited for the WTA and all these other ladies. And Venus, get your shit together, okay? Just saying, okay?
Get it
That
together.
could have been you in the semifinals into the contact. Just saying. Just saying. But anyway.
Thanks
That's
for
what just
joining
behavior.
us.
Thanks for joining us, folks. Have a good day and enjoy. Don't forget to tweet us, comment to us, tell all your friends about us, and don't listen to us while you're at the gym on the treadmill. Do not lifting weights or
You'll
operate
hurt
heavy
yourself.
machinery.
You
You'll
will.
hurt yourself. Thank you
But
very
only-
much. Good night, everyone.
Only after the pod.
Yes. All right. Good night. Good day.